deans who will stop your literal gain. We are the deans who will make you think again. So who do you think you are kidding, Mr. Coulson?
Rebecca Harris, Member of Parliament for Castle Point. I'm down here supporting the children and parents of the Dean's School because the committee are meeting today, the scrutiny committee, to look into the council's suggestion of closing the school next year. Dean's is a long-established school in Castle Point on the borders of my borough, which serves a lot of children both in Castle Point, Southend and Basildon. It's a very good school. It's registered as good by Ofsted with elements of outstanding. It's very popular with the people who are there. It's a lovely atmosphere and it's a great sporting ethos and a great family ethos at the school, and we want to keep it there for future children to be able to have the option of going to the Dean's. We have ring-fenced the education budget. We're not cutting money for education because we know education is vitally important for the future of our country and frankly the future of our economy. So it's not about money. The County Council have said themselves that they do have the money available for rebuilding the school. The council are just arguing that the Dean's is no longer viable as a school of its size, and that's what we've got, the argument they're trying to put to the council, saying it can be there as a smaller school doing something different locally for education locally, not just having lots of large schools. We also want to keep the Dean's there as a slightly smaller school offering something special and different, and it's not about money. Nothing, no trick here. I don't think there's anything to do with money. It's simply that the educational orthodoxy is a school of 600 or so pupils. They think it's not necessary. And we can, the council suggested it might be that these children can all be catered for in other schools. We're just saying it's not going to cost any different. The funding comes per pupil to the school. We think the school is therefore viable. Money's there, we just want to make sure we keep it open for the future. I've raised this in Parliament and I've met the Education Department about this, but of course this issue is down, as this is a local authority school. It is overseen by the local authority and the decision will be taken by the County Council whether they think that we still need to keep the Dean's School there or whether the children can be accommodated in other schools. So it's a local decision, not one for government. The school could try and be self-running, an independent school, could go to academy status. All those options are there for the school to be looking at, and I'm sure they have been looking at them. I'm very much hoping that the scrutiny committee will find that it is a viable school and will recommend that the council get behind the school and keep it and reverse their decision. I'm very much hoping we'll just keep the Dean's as it is with the support of the County Council. If you've been part of the consultation process through the long, there's very, very good, strong arguments been put up by the school, and I hope they've got a good chance of being listened to now, because I think they've got a strong case for staying open because they are a good school and we want something different educationally. So my fingers are crossed.
My son, if I bring it back down to a personal level, is, an A-star student, and this decision is going to muck up his education, completely. And I need to make sure that they have a justifiable, accountable reason for doing that.
What about the two Conservative MPs who are here today? Is that ironic to you?
It is strange how local government works, but I'm no stranger to it, as Mr. Coulson knows. I've worked in local government for some 25 years, so I know how it all works. It's just our democratic system. You have the MPs that are opposing it, you have the local councillors that are opposing it, but the decision is being made by an Essex County Councillor who represents Mount Fitchett. We have no way of voting him out. So basically everybody passes the buck, as in it's not our decision, it's not our decision, it's not our decision, blaming it on a senior council officer. But this is how our democratic world works. I for one know that if they vote to close the school, given all of the evidence that we've provided and other local authorities have provided, none of us will ever vote a Conservative in again, whether that's locally, at county level or nationally. And it's the only way you can start to get your point through. And that's a shame, because some of the local councillors, in particular Castle Point and Basildon and Southend, have shown amazing support. But how else do we stamp our feet to show that, when we say we we want our voices to be listened to, that they are actually listened to. It's a difficult one.
Are you telling me that one councillor from Stansted, Mount Fitchett, who is a Conservative, Labour, Liberal?
Conservative.
Is making the decision of a school, whether it closes or not? One person?
Well, he will make the decision, yes, I believe. He'll become what they call the proposer under the statutory framework for the closure of schools. Well, they have pulled in what they call the scrutiny task force, because we were so vocal as to whether or not they were acting fairly or indeed listening to us. So that's a separate committee that has reviewed all of the evidence, but we've not yet seen the report from that scrutiny committee, and we understand that as a result Councillor Gooding will be looking at that evidence from the scrutiny committee. It is a way of sharing the decision amongst others, so that it's not seen that it is just his decision, but it's all what I call smokes and mirrors. Local government is smokes and mirrors, and if they've got to save themselves 7 million, which is the saving now, albeit, as I said, in the long term, that's going to end up probably 40 million plus to build a new school later on down the line.
How many pupils' futures could be ruined as a result of this, or severely hampered?
Well, at the moment about 650, but it goes far wider than that, because education facilities in Basildon are appalling. And so the Deans actually has a number of what they call cross-boundary children. So you have children coming from the Basildon area, the South End area, because it's within close proximity, and obviously the Rochford area, and it has traditionally had a cross-boundary mix of children. What that does is it isn't just the children that are at the school now. When it closes, that's a closure of an option for parents in the future. I don't want to talk about the schools in Basildon. They've tried very, very hard. I've lived in Basildon all my life, and I've never seen any improvement in those schools. And I don't know why. If they're going to save 7 million, they should really pump it into turning these other schools around so that parents will want to send their kids there.
Great. I think you've got it all.
I'm Stephen Metcalfe. I'm the Member of Parliament for South Basildon and East Thurrock. I'm here to support residents and students, parents who use the Dean's School. While Dean's is not in Basildon, I have become aware that 95 students attend the school, and I'm here to support them because they tell me that this is an excellent school that provides a real opportunity of choice within the education in South Essex.
You're a Conservative. The policy is to ring-fence education. Here's a school under threat.
Well, what I'm doing is representing the interests and the views of my parents. The fact I'm a Conservative and it's a Conservative administration, this is me doing my job as the local Member of Parliament, representing their interests above everything else.
What's special about Dean's?
Well, Dean's not being in my constituency, unfortunately I haven't had the opportunity to visit it, but what I am told is that it provides a particular type of education. It's a very small school, it has good links into the community, it provides excellent sports education. What I want though is a choice in education, and this seems to be giving choice to parents, and that's why I'm here defending it. Well, I think what we need to do is ask the county, the cabinet member, to look at the scrutiny report that will come out on Monday, to look at that compared with his own views, and then see if this decision can be reviewed. It isn't a foregone conclusion that this school has to shut. I'm sure that if we all put our minds to it and work together, we can find a solution that sees what I am told is this excellent school staying open. Concerns I had is that the consultation didn't really engage with Basildon very much, and so I'm coming at this slightly late, which I apologise for, but now I am fully engaged with the process. If necessary, I will certainly raise it with ministers.
I'm here to help promote and hope raise awareness to people about all the impact that these cuts are having on schools, community clubs, everything. You know, we're talking about young people's lives, and in particular my son. If I bring it back down to a personal level, our formal response to the consultation document on the closure of the Dean's schools indicates that we don't believe that they're acting within the legislation surrounding the closure of schools. We have pushed that through a formal complaints, a corporate formal complaints system, and we have received a load of nonsense back basically, and so we are taking that to the local government ombudsman for decision. That's one issue, but by far the biggest issue is that unlike Essex County Council, our group have consulted with Basildon District Council, Southend Council, Rochford Council, all those what they call neighbouring local authorities to the Castle Point area, and we have identified no less than 2,600 new build properties that are likely to be built within the next, say, 5 or 10 years. Basically the impact of that is that it's a complete nonsense to be closing down a good school with outstanding features that is basically a lead school with its ethos of inclusivity and its performance. It's just unbelievably unacceptable, not only to parents but to the local community as well, because the Dean's School is not just a school, it is the centre of the community. For those who are unaware of what the Dean's does, it has an amazing sports facility.
Let me cut into that one. Right, what does the Dean's School have that other schools don't have?
It's a relatively small school by comparison to these other big schools, and not every parent wants to choose to send their child to a huge school, and so it's about parental choice. It is amazingly the way that it integrates and deals with special needs children as well as able ability children. It has an absolutely amazing track record for that. If you look at the achievements of the school in terms of the number of GCSEs, including English and Maths, that our school achieves by comparison to the other two schools, we're achieving those results with a complete mixed bag of children of all abilities, whereas the other two schools have an entrance by examination system. So they're going to have good results, but they are very big schools. Our school is a community school. And there is a lot of support from the local community to keep this school open. It's different as well because we have 4 children at the school who represent the Great Britain in sports. It is a sports specialism school, and not many people realise, but when a child is working towards representing their country, their education has to be specialised around them. The Deans is the only school that does that. The Deans employs something like about 40 sports specialisms employees alone, and that helps our young children keep healthy and fit, and it also has a positive impact on their education. It's a known fact. It also keeps them out of trouble because they're engaged in positive sports.
It's all about the money, isn't it?
Absolutely. We know it's about the money. We know Essex County Council have got to find budget cuts and that there is competing priorities. You know, I'm a businesswoman. I understand that. That isn't lost on me. But what we need is what are the competing priorities, and have they made the right choice in choosing to save the money by closing the Dean's School? We think not. We think it's short-sighted, so do the other local authorities, particularly if there's all these new builds coming along. They're going to need a school, if not, you know, with the numbers that they want now, most certainly in 5 years' time. So they close the school now, then they have to look to build another school in the future. That's going to be a great deal more than the savings they're going to make on closing the school.
Which way did you vote on the Syrian issue?
Last night, I very much supported the government decision because I think we should keep our options open to make sure that this man can't be terrorising his own people again. And I think we should have kept that option open. But clearly the will of Parliament was that the majority was saying no action at all. So I was on the losing side last night.
Which way did you vote on Syria yesterday?
I voted in support of the government motion, which was basically to allow the UN to complete its process, complete the inspections, and then to come back to the House, if necessary, with a further vote if military action was proposed.
You lost the vote then?
Yes.
Are you disappointed?
I'm disappointed that a consensus couldn't be found across the House. I think that the government motion that was put forward was pretty sensible in terms of guaranteeing a second vote, and it's a shame that we couldn't get the opposition to come together with us on that. Both motions, the opposition motion and ours, were very similar in wording, and it was a shame that we had to actually vote on these issues as opposed to sending out a clear message to Assad. And I'm sure we are all united in our opposition to the use of chemical weapons, that Britain will not stand idly by while he continues to attack his own people. And I say Assad, I am convinced it is him. It is inconceivable that this could have been done by the rebels to themselves to gain sympathy from the international community. None of the evidence backs that up, and so we have to point the finger at Assad. But if there is more evidence that can be gathered to prove that, maybe through the inspections, then let's look at that and then make decisions based on fact.